How's it? Welcome into another episode of Raiders Gonna Rate. You know me, you know him. You might not know him, the real Ryan, because the Ryan that is next to me is actually fake. He's
Fake.
just AI.
True.
But it's funny because it's like artificial intelligence, but the intelligence part of that is, just kidding. Love you, buddy. He's not even paying attention to me.
I'm
Be
not.
nice. Yeah.
Be nice. Yeah, so big 3-1 win over the weekend against Liverpool. Their goal, courtesy of an own goal from Gabrielle. We're going to give you 3 up. We're going to give you 3 down. We're going to give you a man of the match. We're probably going to talk about Mikel Arteta a little bit. And hopefully you guys drop your comments in the live chat. Give us your 3 up, your 3 down, your man of the match, and tell us what your thoughts are. Let's get to it.
So sweet. Your skin's so tasty and I wanna eat you.
I got to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with myself sometimes when I make some of these videos and these graphics. Only because I don't know what the hell I'm doing at all, and it actually turns out kind of nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, real Ryan, how are you, man?
Yo, I'm good, dude. I'm good. I think I've rewatched twice already. I want to watch it again. It's been fun. It's been fun watching that game. But I'm in a great mood. I think I'm happy about the trajectory we're possibly on. So yeah, I'm good. I'm happy.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Latte Firm is rewatched like every day.
Like every night, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I've tried, and I get to certain points. I'm like, oh, I know what happens here, and I just kind of like fast forward. I don't have the attention span to rewatch something that I've already watched.
Yeah,
and know what happens. So,
you know what I do, and this might help you if you're doing a rewatch. Is I'm watching a lot off the ball. Since we kind of already know the patterns of play which are going on. We kind of know what happens, but I like to see what's going on, like what triggered what, kind of thing. So that's the part that I found the most interesting, because the anxiety is gone because I'm not watching it live. I don't remember anything basically when I watch it live.
Yeah,
my heart is just racing so much. I'm just so like pent up. But after, when I know the result, it's always a little bit easier.
Yeah. OG Ryan or AI Ryan? I don't know. Which do you prefer, OG or AI?
Man, I mean, usually, I don't care. I don't know how to answer that.
What's going on?
I was gonna say something filthy, but I decided not to. No, good. I'm definitely excited to break the game down. There was a lot of things I wanted to talk about in yesterday's show, but I knew they'd be coming up today, and I figured I'd save some good stuff for today's show.
Keep a little in the tank.
Breaking it more down. Yeah.
So for those of you who might be new to this little thing we do here on BG Media, so we do. OG Ryan and I decided instead of rating every single player, which can get a little, I don't know, redundant isn't the right word, but overkill maybe. We do a 3 up and a 3 down. 3 up basically is the 3 players that we thought were the best in the match. The 3 players that we didn't think maybe lived up to their potential, maybe didn't have the match that they could have had. The 3 down doesn't always mean 3 bad performances. It just means 3 players, especially when you have a win like we had Sunday, or go back 2 weeks ago or a week ago to Nottingham Forest, go even further back to Crystal Palace. It's hard to find 3 players that you say, oh, these 3 guys, they didn't have a good game. It's not necessarily about not having a good game, just 3 players that maybe weren't noticeable, maybe just seemed off the pace a little bit, playing on the back foot, perhaps, things like that. So don't take it as, crapping on the 3 down. It's just we've got to come up with something. So Real Ryan, since it's your first time doing this with us, I'm going to give you the honors, but I'm also going to leave the decision in your hands. Do you want to start with 3 up, or do you want to start with 3 down?
Well, thank you for letting me go first. That's always nice. I think I'll start with 3 up. It was difficult. I think I have a few curveballs as well for 3 down.
So
Which
real quick, we're going to do one at a time. So just
okay,
give me one.
don't rip off all 3.
Don't rip
Okay.
off all 3. No, let's leave that
Yeah, I
Band-Aid
was
on a little
confused when
bit.
you're like,
make
give
it
us
sting
your
a little.
3 up. It's like, oh, he's just gonna rattle these off. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. So all right, I
Cool.
like that. I like that. So what I'll do is I'm gonna start with one that I feel like maybe for you it might be a little bit risque because I feel like there's been an agenda because we went at it on Twitter about this.
Oh.
So my first up is David Raya.
All right.
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be so tough for the 3 of us because, I mean, I'll just say because I'm not gonna. I don't want to. I'm not gonna bring him up later in the show. He's actually one of my downs. But yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see because you have games like this where we all play well, and I'm sure I have a down that some of you guys probably have set up. It's gonna be interesting, and it's gonna be interesting to see how we all can work it in and also keep track of all of our ups and downs.
I'm writing them all down here. So and also, I mean, there are going to be some duplicates. I mean, 3 of them.
No, yeah, that's why, like I said, like I'm not gonna bring Rye up again. Like after Ryan's done talking, I'm gonna discuss why he's my down, and that'll just be my down. And yeah, whatever. We'll get the kinks. We're getting the kinks ironed out.
Yeah. Look, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
So calm down. No, I'm excited. I'm excited why he's an up for you.
Real Ryan, he's an up for you. So tell me why.
I think he's finally starting to come into the team and feeling like he doesn't have to worry about Aaron Ramsdale as much. I think I've seen it the last few games, and I did notice the last game. I think this is the first time he's done it. He's G'ing up the crowd, kind of getting more involved. And for me, it's not even a play thing, which I think is warranted. Just the speed that he's getting the ball out. Obviously we're seeing some great distribution, which we knew we were going to get with him. But I think we've seen it a lot more. And it's kind of leaping off, the TV screen a lot more from where it's a save. He's popping up, the ball's out quick, and it's a Martinelli or whoever just sprinting down the sideline, trying to get in. So the distribution's been awesome. I think he's feeling more comfortable. And that's really what I wanted to see. It's not so much like he had the best game ever, because obviously there's a moment, that we'll probably talk about where, was it Saliba's fault? Is it his fault? Should he be running out to get that? I've seen a difference of opinion on whose fault it is, who's weighted the most and whose issue it was. And that's fair, right? But for me, I feel like he's getting more comfortable, and I feel like he really feels like he's more a part of the team instead of some, come by lately. We already had a good squad. We don't really need him. Why are we, potentially spending this money on him when we have a great keeper and there's other positions we need to get filled? I think there was a lot of that. So I don't think he really felt comfortable. But I think he is starting to feel comfortable in the squad and in the team. And I think that's a good thing for us going forward and for him.
All right. OG. You want to give one of your ups, since that's where we started?
I was just gonna kind of take that and just talk about Raya more and just say why he's one of my downs.
Okay.
Actually, it's funny. It's so we've been doing this. This is our second time doing this, and the last game we won, and you're nitpicking to find downs, and same with this game too. Because I completely agree. Seeing Raya kind of rally the crowd is something we've never seen him do. It was good to see, because it's something that Ramsdale he was a part of, and he was just the centerfold of that for us. And I'm a big believer in culture, and I think culture goes a long way. But yeah, he's finally feeling at home, and I like that. And I don't know if maybe the Dubai trip had something to do with it, because it's kind of since that Palace game, I've noticed something. But this game, really in particular, it's a big game. Even though at the moment get the best of him. Well, I mean, maybe one play he did. But yeah, I mean, that's like kind of the one play that I kind of just I'm going to talk about. And whereas he definitely helped with, the bringing the crowd into the game and feeling kind of at home. I worry about his communication on the pitch with his center backs, with his back line. I'll just say that goal we gave up. I keep going back and forth. I know on the show I spoke about how I probably blame Saliba more, and we'll probably get into that a little hint into maybe another one of my downs. But yeah, I think Ryan needs to communicate with the team more. I don't see Saliba as a big communicator either. Gabriel just yells shit. So I mean, that's good, I guess. But communicating is a lot of different things. But yeah, I think Raya should have kind of took the bull by the horns a little bit because he's doing that with the crowd. He's doing that with as far as getting the team riled up and stuff. I would kind of like to see him do that more with the players in front of him. So I was a little upset. At the time when the goal occurred, I was very upset. And if everyone, whoever watched Glenn's video can see, I don't know if you really saw me, but my friend Connor was screaming useless at the TV, and I felt very similar. I mean, Raya should have got that, and I think that's something Ramsdale probably would have came out and grabbed because he's just very loud and he communicates and he seems very antsy. And I know Raya is a aggressive keeper than Ramsdale, but I don't know. That was just very odd that sequence of events, and I just, if Raya wants to be our number one keeper and he wants to, win us trophies and do all these things and really cement himself, which seems like he's comfortable with the whole crowd interaction. He needs to be making better calls and better judgments and communicating that more with the players in front of him.
So I agree with everything both of you have said, which is quite frankly why I didn't list David Raya either an up or a down. There were things about his game that I really liked on Sunday. There were obviously the goal. I mean, it's one thing to have a bad play and you kind of get bailed out, whether, the ball trickles wide or goes, over the crossbar or somebody bails you out. I mean, there's a goal that conceded that he is directly involved in and a part of. So I was going to give him a down based on that, but I thought there was enough positives to his game from Sunday that I'm like, you know what? Nah, I'm just not going to I'm not going to give anything at all for him. I didn't give him an up. I didn't give him a down. So nice. That's kind of a nothing from me, an up from Real Ryan and a down from OG. So I'll give you my first up, and I'm probably going to get laughed at for it. Fine. Little off the reservation here. But I'm going to go with Jakub Kiwior as an up. I thought when he came on, he was effective. He was bright, had an opportunity at goal where he was unmarked and he got the header away. Unfortunately, it was right into Allison's breadbasket. But I don't think Jakub Kiwior put a foot wrong. And at the beginning of the year, I actually put out quite a bold, probably unpopular opinion. I actually thought that Kiwior would have a chance to unseat Zinchenko as a left back. I will reel that one back in for a lot of reasons, but I've wanted to see more from him because I think there really is a player there. I'm not sure where his best position is. I tend to think it's more central than as a fullback, especially a fullback that tries to do what Zinchenko does. I don't think that's really his game. But I really liked what I saw from Kiwior, granted in limited minutes coming off the bench. But I also think that's a positive that we can look at it and say, here's another guy defensively that we can bring in off the bench that hopefully will earn some trust from Mikel Arteta, get some playing time, get some, rotation in there. And as we've all said, even if you're going to sell him, you still got to play him because you tank his value if he doesn't play at all. So yeah, Jakob Kivior isn't up for me, and I believe I'm frozen. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to reboot. You guys work it out amongst yourselves. Who's going to
We
go
can still
next.
hear you though, so it's okay.
Eventually, you're not going to be able to. I'll be right back. I'm going to reboot it.
No, I don't have much to say about KBR. I actually agree. I think KBR had a really good second half. The only little story I have, and I'm a little upset Glenn didn't put it in his video. So when KBR came on at halftime, I told Glenn, "Hey, your boy's coming on." Glenn's notoriously not a KBR guy. I go, "Okay, Glenn, Kivior's coming on, man." And I'm giggling at him, like a little girl. And he goes, "What? No, what happened to Zinchenko? Is he hurt? What's going on?" And so he sits down and he makes a little video of himself, and he essentially was like, he didn't say we were in trouble, but he was expressing his he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy Kivior was coming on. He finishes the video and I go, Glenn, I'm just kidding. You really think Arteta's going to bring on a sub at halftime? Kivior's not coming on. Zinchenko's still in, whatever. And then he whips his phone out again. He makes another video talking about how I'm an asshole and I tricked him into believing Kivior was coming on. And then as the video's ending, I don't know if the video caught this or not because he was like just putting his phone down. I'm like, Glenn, no, I'm actually serious. Kivior is on the pitch. And then I point to the TV and it actually shows Kivior kind of like warming up with it. With this shirt on. And I think Glenn was going to hit me at that moment. But we were all laughing, having a good time. And it was a very funny moment we had. But yeah, I thought Kivior played well. He actually didn't make my either of my ups or my downs. He might have made my up, but there's a reason why he didn't, and I'm going to get into that later. Talking about another player. But yeah, I think he had a very solid performance. It's a shame he didn't get that goal. He didn't get that header. That would have really put a binky in Glenn's mouth. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I thought he played well, and it's good to see him on the pitch because of all the talk about him potentially leaving. Because I think there's a real spot for him in this team.
Yeah, I don't honestly have much to add. I was a little nervous when Zinchenko came off. Obviously, if you're hooking a guy at halftime, it's an injury. So we know he's had his issues with his calf. That seems like what it is. I don't know how long he's gonna be out. But yeah, I think like everyone, we were like, of course, this is what's happening against Liverpool. Like, we don't have our strongest team, whatever. But I think tactics wise, I think Jorginho playing where he played actually helped out Kivior quite a lot because he's not going to have to do any of the playmaking that we expect from Jorginho. I think or from Zinchenko. So I think Jorginho being there helped him playing that position. He was still taking up the same spaces, but I don't think the playmaking was going to be something that Kivior had to be a part of, like we count on for Zinni. But I think Jorginho helped do that job for him so he could just focus on defending that side. I think it could have been a little different if Havertz was playing instead of Jorginho. So yeah, I'm happy for him just as a confidence thing. And we've said this for a long time is guys have to come in and gain Arteta's trust. So if he came in there and had a nightmare, gets done by whoever's on that side, we're probably not seeing him again. And and we were talking about value. It's going to be shot because, with the games that are coming up, we basically feel like we need to win all of them. So, yes, it is good. And hopefully Arteta feels comfortable with putting him in there if needed. So yeah, I'm happy for him.
I guess, Real Ryan, you want to keep us going here? You want to do another up or you want to do a down? So Ryan's giving us a down. So
I'm just gonna do all my ups. I'll do all my downs later. So next I'm going Ben White. I think Ben White's healthy finally. I think Dubai, finally did him a solid, and I feel like we're starting to see the overlapping runs that I feel like we weren't seeing before they went to the warm weather training. He also, got his lick back on Trent Jones, got a nice little nutmeg on him. Something that I feel like he would only do if he was really feeling it. And I think we talked about this before last time I was on. He's been my unsung hero because we just don't have anyone who can replace him. So he's had to play hurt and injured. And I think we've seen his performance levels drop because of that. But Arteta's looking at it like, well, you might be hurt, you might have a knock, but like we don't really have another option, so we got to throw you out there, which isn't fair to him because he's not playing well. But it's just like when you're hurt, it's hard to be at peak, right? So I feel like he's healthy. I feel like he looks sharp. I don't really feel like there was any 1v1s that he was getting roasted. I feel like there were some times before the break that he just looked gassed. He looked tired. He looked like he needed a rest. And I think he looks good now. So that's my guy. It's Ben White for me. And I hope that whatever injury he had, I hope it's completely gone. Because we obviously need him.
Yeah. Ryan, OG.
Yeah, Ben White was actually one of my ups.
Nice.
It's funny, as Ryan was talking, I'm like, I was going to say that. Yeah, the only thing really I have to add is just I think he allowed Odegaard to push further up the pitch. I think Odegaard was a little more. He was kind of playing striker at times, and Ben White was kind of sitting comfortably in that right 8, which when we were attacking. When we were running through our attacking phases of play, it was nice to see Ben White make those overlaps, make those transitions, but also just be there for support, allowing Ben White to also kind of push off the ball, which is, something that we teams, people say we're the best at. And it's nice to see Ben White being so versatile in what he's doing. And yeah, the nutmeg was just a bit of beauty. We were all in awe at the bar when it happened. It was so nice, and it's always good to see Ben White being cheeky because again he has that little part of his game that we value so much and that we lack. But yeah, hell yeah, I love Ben White. Definitely an up for me as well.
I've been a Ben White guy since we brought him in, and when we brought him in, the talk was 50 mil for a center back, Ben White, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing. I've been a Ben White fan since he was at Brighton. He went out on loan to Leeds, I believe. He spent a season with Leeds. I've been on the Ben White bandwagon for a while, even before he got here. And he is right, real Ryan. He's one of those guys that really flies under the radar, and it's almost a bit of a shame with him because he is, I think, so vital to what it is that we do. And when he's not in there, when he's not at 100%, we feel it, and we might feel that as much as, say, missing William Saliba, or if he's not at 100%. I mean, we feel it when he is not on the game or even in the game. And when we brought him in, everybody's screaming about the price tag and everything. And I'm like, just wait. You're going to eat your words. Just wait. And I think he's I think he's untouchable in this side. Really. I think, to sum up everything that you guys said, because I agree with it all, I really think he's undroppable at this point. I don't think in a meaningful game you can drop him given he's fit. He is that important. There are 5 or 6 players that we would look at and say can't drop him. He's in that category across the back 3. OG might lambaste me for this one. I think he's more important than Zinchenko. I think what he brings to this team total, he doesn't bring in attack what Zinchenko does, but he makes up for it defensively. I think he's more untouchable, more undroppable than Zinchenko is. And that's probably more of a knock on Zinchenko for me than Ben White, it's a great shout from both.
I agree. I actually agree with what you said. I think Ben White is the only I've been while you were talking, I'm trying to think, and I'm sure you guys are going to say a name, and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, I'm wrong. You can maybe make an argument for Tomiyasu, but I think Ben White's more so. I think he's the only player, he's the only defender on our team where I feel comfortable with him playing any position at back four. I wouldn't mind if he started right back, left back, center back. I guess right center back, left center back. So I guess 3 positions. Yeah, he's the unsung hero. I mean, we talk about it ad nauseum, and I know I always talk about it this season, especially because I know when we did our end of season awards last season, I was like upset because we had so many awards and Ben White didn't get one from any of us, but he was just Mr. Consistent. He just had a great game every game, and he's unsung because he's just always putting in good performances. I mean, is he man of the match ever? No, but he's never putting in stinkers. So yeah,
he's rock steady, man.
He's a very vital part to our team, and he's the most consistent defender that we have.
He's just that guy that it's almost like if you're not talking about him, you know he had a great game.
Yeah,
because he just flies under the radar that much that you're really only going to talk about him if you noticed him, and if you noticed him, it's probably because he had a stinker. He had a dud somewhere. But yeah, Ben White. I mean, all the flowers to him. He really does fly under the radar, and it is a shame that he didn't get any end of season awards from us at the last season. I guess I'll bring us back down to earth though, and well, let me say this real quick on Ben White. I think I see a lot of talk with everybody healthy in the back line. What's our best back four? I don't think 3 of those positions aren't up for debate, really. I mean, it would come down to left back, and as OG likes to say, horses for courses. I think it would depend on the opponent.
I think there is a debate. And it's so funny because I waxed lyrical with Ben White. I don't think we can narrow. Don't know. At least for me, I can't nail down our right back and left back just because I don't know what Yuri Timber can bring to the table. I saw him play I saw him play 2 meaningful games. Not even. He got injured in the second one. I really want to see what Yuri Timber brings to this table before I make any judgment calls, because I think he could really do something to this team. He could really transform us. He could kind of be a merge of Tomiyasu, a merge of Ben White and Zinchenko, which I think is vital to us. And I also I hold Tomiyasu very high, and I think there are games where if Timber is left back, or even if Zinchenko's left back, I almost argue that we could start Tomiyasu over Ben White in certain games.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, okay, so this is actually fun because I've thought about this a lot too. I know you guys were fans of other sports, but the Warriors when they had their death squad, you guys remember that? And it was like Steph, Clay, Andre Iguodala, and Draymond and Kevin Durant. So like that was their most efficient, plus minus is the highest. Like, efficiency was crazy. And I am curious if there is a lineup where if he can put Zinchenko and Timber on the left and the right. I'm sure Arteta's thought about that. I just don't know like what that does. But yeah, it's just like, so I'm just curious on when everyone's healthy, how different he'll set up depending on what game that we're playing. And I agree. Like I kind of want to see what that looks like. I don't know. It's obviously won't happen this year. I don't think so. But that would be really interesting because to Ryan's point, I think he is a blend of both. We didn't see him play much, but gosh, he bedded in really quickly. He felt really comfortable on the ball. He had that little shimmy, which was good, and he could get into space, and he's a good passer, and he's strong, and he's not someone you're worried about, like how we are with Zinchenko sometimes, just getting ran over by whoever's on that side. Like he can hold his own and doesn't need a ton of help. Like we need Gabby to come over there and help sometimes or whatever. When Zinchenko is on his own. So I am curious to see what that back line would be cooking up if everyone was healthy, because it looks like Tommy's going to resign according to some rumors. Yep. So yeah, man, it's really cool.
I just, for me, what Ben White brings on at both ends, I just think is irreplaceable. to me. I think that the question is it.
He can
I
even
think
play
the
center
question-
back.
Yeah,
You talk about these fullbacks. Like I wouldn't even be upset if maybe we give Gabriel a rest or Saliba a rest and put Ben White there. I wouldn't
Yep.
even.
Yep.
That's why, like, I don't really think anything's like. So I mean, maybe I would nail down Saliba, but like I don't know. That's the great thing about having versatile fullbacks and center backs.
Yeah.
Somebody else can play center back. Ben White can play center back. If we really need to in a pinch, I don't want this, but Rice can play center back. Timber has played center back a few times. I don't expect that to happen, but I love how we just have Swiss Army knives everywhere we go.
For me, the back four, Champions League final. One game to win the one trophy we've never won. Ben White is starting that game for me. That's assuming everybody is 100% fully fit. Ben White is my right back.
Even Timber.
So, yep. Here's why. Right now, I haven't seen enough of them. I mean, I could go on and I think make some pretty good points about why Jurrien Timber wouldn't be that guy. Injury.
Well, that's why I can't say because I haven't seen enough of him.
But see so right now, because I haven't seen enough, gun to my head, Ben White starts at right back for me. I would not rule out starting Timber at left back.
Yeah.
But Ben White would start at right back.
That's what Arteta wants to do, yeah.
I mean, that's what he did. That's how we lined up, if you recall, against Forest. Jurrien Timber was playing left back for us when he blew his knee out.
But then he was hurt.
Was he?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tomiyasu wasn't hurt though.
That's what we don't know because Zinchenko was hurt.
That's right. He was. Yeah. Now I wouldn't rule out the left back would really be the only across the back four. Left back would be the only question mark for me there. So anyway, I guess I'll. You know what? No, I'll throw it back to Real Ryan. Give me your last up.
Gabriel Magalhaes. I mean,
wow.
he's been so good, you guys, and it's just because like Saliba makes it look so cool that like maybe he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. But I honestly think I just don't remember. I just honestly just don't remember him having a bad game recently. I've really been watching him close because we love that partnership so much. And obviously, we're one of the best defenses in the league, XG allowed. I mean, we don't really give a lot of chances. And I mean, we just said this earlier. If Gabriel was there instead of Saliba when we had the goal that we gave up, I don't think it happens, right? Just because he is a vocal leader back there. And I think he's a warrior, dude. I don't really know how else to put it. I feel like I was gonna come up with something so much more eloquent, like on his game, but it's just like he's one of those guys that are in the squad, and I'm including like a Declan Rice too. It's just like when he's starting and he's on the field, I just feel safe, and I think and what's tough is I think he got like the he'll make a mistake thing a few years ago. And I think that kind of stuck on him a little bit too long. And I don't think that's true anymore. I think he's as rock solid as you can get as a center back. And I would just straight up say, I think he's one of the best center backs like, in the world. I really do think that he's so good. I'm going back and watching games and I'm looking like he's pinging balls to the wings too. He's not just, well, let me just give it to Rice. Let me just give it back to Saliba. Like, he can put a ball out into space as well. And he's scoring goals. He's so dominant in the boxes. There's just not enough good things I can say about him. He's been a stock up for the entire season for me. But I thought in this game he was awesome.
You want to go ahead, OG? You want me to go?
I don't have him anywhere. He's like one of the players that I just didn't even think about. I mean, yeah, we let one goal. I mean, went off his arm. That sucks. I don't really want to give him any blame for the goal, but he was kind of close. He could have maybe did something. Maybe I don't know. I'm grasping at straws. He played well. He's our brick shithouse defender, which again I think every team needs, and he's ours, and I love him. And I mean, he played great. Yeah,
thought about it. I really thought about putting him up there. And I think because it's 3, I think he would probably have been 4.
Yeah,
4 or
fair.
5 for me on that list. But everything you said, I mean, I do it all the time. I'm going to do it again. But, hockey reference wise, he's the stay-at-home defenseman. Saliba is the ball mover. Gabriel is just that guy that just at the very back end, he's got it locked down. And I won't say that, and it's not to say that Saliba isn't the same thing.
Right.
Saliba's more the dribbler of the two. Saliba's the guy that'll dribble past you, make a spin away from you, nutmeg you even. Gabriel's he's just a workhorse. He's just rock steady, like you said, rock solid at the back. I hesitate to say that either. I've said it before. I hesitate to say that either one of them are the best in the world, but together they are the best in the world. Individually, I may not put them in that category yet.
That's crazy, but you're telling your own opinion.
Say that neither individually are the best in the world.
Yeah,
Saliba individually, I think, is pretty safe.
I think
say that.
I would even go as far as say
the
Gabby
best
is.
center back.
I think. Well, not the, well. One. I'm saying
they're in
one
the conversation. I'm not saying they are.
No. I'm not saying they're not in the conversation. I'm saying I would hesitate to say that either one of them are, but they're definitely in the conversation for sure. I say they're both top 5 in the world. I think they're both top 5 individually in the world, but together, it's the best center back tandem in the world, and that's not close. Yeah. As a tandem, it is whoever you put as the second best center back tandem in the world. Here is Saliba and Gabriel. Number 2, I don't even know. Fall off a cliff.
I mean, Man City. I mean, I feel like Diaz and Stones and those guys. I mean, I feel like they could probably put together something that's close.
I'm not saying they couldn't, but I
don't know. I don't know about here and here. Like you want to hear and here.
They don't have set center backs. Like Akanji could play there. Ake plays there, but Ake's been playing fullback for them just because of like their
Mario can play there too.
Yeah, that's true.
He's been okay though, to be honest. He's been okay. From what Man City fans have been saying, they're not like, oh my God, you know what I mean? They're like,
he's not. Yeah, I mean, he's not the second coming of Tony.
But all that's fair. All that's fair.
But I listen, man. I said beginning of the season. That's what he was my unsung hero at the beginning of the season. I'm not backing down from that right now, as much as I just bigged up Ben White. Gabriel is 100%, and his steadiness and calmness at the back, and Real Ryan, you said it a year ago, 2 years ago, he's prone to that brain fart, that lapse in judgment or decision making. Knock on wood, not so far this year. Not so far this year. I can't argue with it. It's a great shout. So those are 3 up for the Real Ryan. OG, where do you want to go next? You want to go up or down?
Yeah, dude, I only have 1 up and 1 down crossed off. That's crazy. I thought for sure I would have more. Anyways, I will choose one of my downs, and I will go with I'll go with Zinchenko. The down for him is only he didn't play poorly. If anything, I think he played well. It was interesting to see how different he played this game. He played wide. He didn't play in the middle. And I think that was the caveat of having Rice kind of run around. And I think it was the caveat of having Jorginho there too. Because I do think Jorginho and Zinchenko kind of they clash. They're very similar type players, like to be in very similar type positions on the pitch. So it was very interesting to see how it would work from minute 1. But yeah, he played wide, and I think that was something that we kind of gave Liverpool something to think about. And I don't think Liverpool expected us to do that, having Zinchenko play wide and not invert as much as he did. But I think the biggest thing for me was just him potentially getting hurt. I heard there was talk that he hurt his calf. Don't know how long he's going to be out for. I haven't heard any updates on him. And the biggest down of that is just obviously being hurt, but not even that. But Tomiyasu's back.
All right.
Tomiyasu will probably be in the squad against West Ham, potentially getting a start. I don't know how Arteta feels about players coming back from big tournaments for their countries. And also Zinchenko. Also, KVR played well too. So it'll be very, very interesting to see who we start at left back. But I don't think it's going to be Zinchenko. So, but yeah, that's just the only real down for me there is Tomiyasu is going to be knocking on that left back door. And I love Tomiyasu. I'm a big admirer of his. I think since he kind of came into the fold, whether it be right back or left back for us, he's just done wonders. I think he's one of the best, if not the best, defender at one-on-one defending that we have at the club. So, Zinchenko's got things to look out for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure that at this point, if you've watched us enough, everybody thinks that I probably hate Zinchenko, and I don't.
Yeah, pretty much
hate Zinchenko. I love what he brings. In possession, I stick to my guns on as good as he is in possessions. He's pretty much equally as bad at defending. He is too worried about attack that he catches himself out of position. It was interesting to see how wide he did stay on Sunday. I don't really have anything to add on Zinchenko other than the only other down for me with him is the injury. He's turning into Thomas Partey light with this, where he can play 3 games and then he's got to miss 5. He's had a good run this year, I will say, but these injuries, man, these soft tissue injuries that these guys get, I don't know how you fix it. If you're the physio staff at Arsenal, but there's just way too much of this. And some of these guys are just, they're out there running around with glass jaws. So Zinchenko's one of them. That's all I've got on Zinchenko. Go ahead, Real Ryan.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. You guys said it perfectly. We know what he does for us on the field, but if he's not available, so it just gets frustrating because I think I don't want to get to a point in the year where we're talking about, man, well, if everyone was healthy, we would have. So that's the part that's frustrating for me because, I think we're in a good spot, still to chase the title and we know what we have in front of us, at least for the next round for Champions League. But it's just every other week. It's something. We're talking about we know he can't really play 90, so we already have to pull him out, in the 70th. Okay, cool. But now we're talking about we can't even get, a game a week out of you, or two. So it just it's really weighing on me because I do love the player, but at this point I think we know what he is and he's just not a reliable, every week starter. So it's frustrating.
Yeah. I'll give you one of my downs because I only have one. I've only listed one of my players so far. One of my downs, first down, it's got to be Saliba.
Yeah.
The more that he's so good, and we expect, I think, so much from him that when something like this happens, there's almost no choice but to give him a down. I do really want to see, I said this yesterday, I do want to see David Raya come for that ball and see him take control of that situation. But Saliba, in the immediate moment of there being something dicey, of it being squeaky bum, whatever you want to say, Saliba has the opportunity to just boot the ball away. He can just boot the ball away. Before Raya even has a chance to make the decision to come and get the ball, William Saliba has the opportunity to boot the ball away. It's a down for me with Saliba just because you had the opportunity first to clear the line. You didn't do it. You waited and waited to see what David Raya was going to do. Like I said, I want to see Raya come for it, and I blame them both, but I blame Saliba a little bit more. Just kick that ball away, clear the line, and we take the 1-0 lead into halftime. So William Saliba for me gets the down, and it's literally that is it, because he had a fine game, great game otherwise.
I'll even go a step further. He didn't put a foot wrong other than that play, in my opinion. But he's my last down. Same thing. I think, to me, he's just a specimen. He's great with the ball at his feet. He's great defending. He's great aerially. The thing I want to see more from him is just not necessarily consistency, but just I don't know, is clock management maybe a thing? Like I just keep, I watched it again since our show yesterday, and I just can't shake the fact it's like we're in stoppage time in the first half. Just boot the ball. Like, you need to know how much. Like, I know the players don't know probably exactly how much time is on the clock, especially given the stoppage time. But when you're in that kind of situation, you can't just you need to be able to trust your teammates. I get that, but in the same respect, it's like you just get rid of it. Just boot it. Don't trust this person to come out. Don't trust maybe Gabriel to come out of nowhere and help out. I get it. You're boxing out Luis Diaz, but just boot the ball. Know where you are on the pitch. Know how much time is on the clock. I just think that was the smarter play, instead of being cute with it. And I mean that's it's great. That's really it. I just know what's on the clock. Know the kind of situation you're in. It sets the situation better. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is you guys said it perfect. I mean, I have a few notes on that, and Ryan brought it up, and there's 10 seconds left. I know that we like to keep possession and we don't just kick the ball out of bounds. Like, that's not what we do. Obviously, so much of our building out of the back is, some risky, passes back and forth, whatever, so we can get going. But with 10 seconds left, you boot it, I don't care where, and that's the half, right? So just the concentration piece. And it's the same thing. I mean, he's had 2 back-to-back games where we're kind of like against Forest, gets, a little shoulder checked or whatever in the back, doesn't get the header, 4 scores. We're it's just little things like that. He's not having a nightmare. But then, also at the same time, what makes him great, the goal that we score, he gets the ball back, does a no-touch turn, with pressure, and gets it out. And the next thing you know, we're down the field, which sets up the goal. So, I kind of get both sides, and he just makes everything look so cool and chill that I think in that situation, he needed to just kick it out. But I understand why he didn't a little bit too. So a learning experience thing. And, hopefully between him and Raya, they'll talk about it. If you don't hear me say mine or whatever, and he should be saying that. I've played soccer my whole life, and I've played, I think the most vocal people on our teams growing up, especially when we got really competitive, were the keepers. I mean, they couldn't shut up. They were just back there screaming, telling people where to move, and hey, you got one on, play the way you face, turn. They see everything. So on a game of that level, and as good as Rye is, I think he should be screaming like me or clear. Yeah. One of the two. I don't know. We didn't hear it. I wasn't there. But if no one said anything, then that's bad too.
That's
right?
really, yeah. Ryan, give me give me one of your ups.
Okay. I'm just switching. I'm making a last-minute switch right now. I'm gonna say Trossard. He would have been my man of the match had he been on earlier in the pit, or had he started, I guess. He did nothing wrong. I don't know if you can give players subbed on 10 out of 10s, but I would. And 10's obviously it's a perfect game. I think he played perfect. I think he was going into every challenge. He was winning every challenge. He was just dribbling with a purpose. He was dribbling past players. He was connecting play. He obviously scored a great goal. He's a menace. And I say this, I feel like I say this a lot, but I hate, kind of big upping players saying oh, they're great off the bench. And if they're great off the bench, they should be great starting. But for some reason, Tomiyasu, when he's started lately for us, he's kind of just been a little too inconsistent for me. But when he's off the bench, man, he's something else. And his 10 assists for us in January when he came till the end of the season off the bench were just immense. And I think he's just, I don't know, I don't know what's in his DNA, but he just comes 100% every time off that bench, and he is just a game changer. And that's just something we needed at this club, and we need Arteta to trust more people. We need plan Bs. We need guys off the bench making a difference, and he's one of them. We lead the league in players off the bench. I think is it goals scored by players off the bench, or it might just be goals and assists from players off the bench. But yeah, he's just like I said, I'd give him man of the match, but I think someone else has something else to say about that. But only playing for 30 minutes. I'd feel kind of cheap giving it to him, but yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in on Trossard. I think this is the second game in a row that he's coming off the bench and done a job. He strikes me as someone who has like a chip on his shoulder. I think he's so good, but I think he probably thinks that you should be or have the opportunity to be one of the better players, in the world, whatever he thinks. Because I honestly think this dude stands on business, man. Like he comes in these games and he just does stuff that I just can't. He would start on so many other teams. So it's such a luxury that we get to have him come off the bench when needed. I wouldn't even.
I think he would start on every team. I'll go as
Right.
far as say he'd start on every team. I mean, maybe not City or Liverpool, but
right.
that's
fair.
it. That's literally
Start at 4 and start rattling them off. Aston Villa, he starts. The
Right,
Scumbags, he starts. That United, he
all of
starts.
them.
Just keep
All of
going.
Yeah.
I
So,
think there's even an argument where we could start for City. Maybe I think he's a horse for courses player even for Liverpool. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But yeah, he's
No.
he's
And
awesome.
I honestly I didn't know. I thought because of his performance against Forest when he came on, I thought he played well. I thought there was a chance that he could have started, but then I remembered that Martinelli just terrorizes Trent, so I knew that he wouldn't start. But everything you said, I mean, perfectly said, dude. The guy is so freaking good, and I think that's what we kind of look at when we look at the bench. And some teams, it's like they can bring on a Jota or whoever, and it felt like we haven't been able to have that for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's nice that like we get to bring fucking Trossard off the bench, like what I mean. Like that's like some powerful stuff. That like, dude, this guy is so good, and like now you're gonna have to deal with him for 30 minutes after you just got ran by Martinelli. Like that's powerful. So yeah, stud, love him, so cool.
I will just say here. I agree with all. I love Trossard. He is one of those players that it's kind of like a less is more thing with him. I as much as I hate to say it, like Thomas Partey, but it does seem like the less playing time he gets than he takes, he really maximizes the time that he does get, whether it be the playmaker with the assists or the goal from Sunday. Trossard is just, boy, there's a guy that if there was anybody in this team that is, when you start rattling off players you want to see get a contract extension, he's on that list. He's up there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. I don't want to like him because he is the reason why ESR is not like
right.
He's in his team.
He's
He's blocking ESR 100%, and he's literally the closest player we have to ESR, and they play similar positions. They can play similar positions, and I can't. He's awesome. He's awesome, man. That's it.
Real Ryan, give me a down. We haven't gotten any downs from you yet.
Yeah, I had Saliba as one, and honestly, like I honestly don't have much. I have some ones that aren't even people that played, and I'm just gonna just rip the Band-Aid off. And
I like it. I like it.
All right.
It's honestly, guys, like before the season, I said we'd go as far as this player could take us if they were healthy.
I know exactly who he's gonna say.
And
we all
bro,
know who
like,
he's gonna say.
This is crazy that Thomas Partey's not playing, bro. I don't know if he's not. I'm just so disappointed. Like, is he not taking care of himself? Like, Is he not doing like the recovery program that he's been given from like our medical staff? Like he never missed game, and I know he's older, but he missed what, like one game at Atletico, and I know it's a different league and this is more blood and thunder, and I get all that, but when he's healthy, he's so good, and I'm just gonna be so mad if we never get to see this team with him 100% healthy to see what that midfield will look like, because I feel like I mean, I don't know for sure, but I feel like we might have found our hey, you know, season on the line, big Champions League game. I think we might have found our lineup, and it might be with Jorginho in it. I don't know if it's with Thomas Partey in it, and that's okay. You know, we played well against Liverpool, but that I'll always wonder if he doesn't come back to full fitness and we don't see him get bedded in. He's not gonna, if he gets healthy, he's not gonna play like in the next game. You know what I'm saying? Like if it takes him another month or whatever, I just don't know if he's going to be up to speed when we're playing these games that we literally have to win all of them. So it just like it concerns me that he's still not back after all this time off and after hearing all these reports of he's in training. It feels like he's been in training for a long time and then another setback. So
we're talking at this point with Thomas Partey 6 months for a thigh strain.
That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. So that means he's like it's either worse than what we said, or he's legit not taking care of himself like he should be to get back. And that is a problem.
I mean, I mean, guys have torn hamstrings and quads and didn't miss 6 months. And it's whoa. Did you hear all that? Please tell me somebody heard that.
Heard what?
The C-3PO Chewbacca Star Wars stuff.
No, yeah, I heard it.
Okay.
Just ignore it.
Just making sure. Yeah, I mean they're guys that are missing time with torn muscles that aren't missing, and we're being told it's a strain, it's a thigh strain. And look, I don't want to pile on here with Zinchenko, but it's kind of the same thing with him too. Like he's had this calf strain problem for a while. So figure it out. Like, I don't know what it's going to take. The Thomas Partey thing, conspiracy theory, I don't think he wants to play here. Ryan, you're muted, by the way. Real Ryan, you're muted. Can't hear you. There you go.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. The conspiracy theory tinfoil hat thing might be a thing because I don't know why. I mean, unless he just wants to preserve his legs so he can get sold. I really don't get it, but I mean, I'm kind of, it's sad, but I'm just done with the whole thing now.
Yeah.
Even though he's so good, but man.
At this point, I mean, I think for Arteta, this is where he has to basically say, okay, who is going to play that position for me now? What is my best 11? And he's not involved, and he's not a consideration.
Yep.
So I don't hate it as a down. It's a little off the reservation, if you will.
Well, because like
I get it.
I'm not gonna. Everyone, like, our defense gave up nothing. We already said Zinchenko. Like Declan Rice, no. I mean,
what's funny about Declan Rice is that I actually thought about, because I'm like, I need one.
Right.
I can't put him in there.
Right.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Right. So I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble because I honestly struggled. I mean, Saliba was the only one that I was like, okay, like I can talk about him like and have an argument to why. Everyone else is gonna be tough though.
I mean, my only other down, I guess I'll throw it out there. My other down is Odegaard. And again, it's not it's just I wanted a third.
Yeah.
And I don't think he had a bad game at all. It's just captain, and I expect a little bit more, and I didn't get what I expected. That's all that is. So I'm not going to crap on Odegaard. I just didn't quite I'm not getting from him what I want fully. So he's there just because he's not quite living up to my expectations. So
and how long now?
That's really
his mic instead of Sorry.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
I gotta change rooms. We're at an hour in the conference room, so hold on a second. I'll be right back.
All right. But yeah, that's my only other down. Is Odegaard. So I don't know what you think of it. Like I said, it's not really to crap on him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not getting the expectation. He's not living up to the expectations right now. So
he was
that's all
phenomenal off the ball. I mean,
yeah.
And again, he was fine with the ball, but he didn't have the ball too much. But he was phenomenal off the ball. But I don't have him as I don't have him as anything. So.
I guess I've got Kai Havertz as an up. And I really thought you would have had him as a down for this based on a conversation you and I had earlier.
I have him as an honorable. I have 3 up, I have 3 down. I have 1 up left, and I have an honorable mention up, and I have an honorable mention down. He is my honorable mention down.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't think Kai Havertz had the greatest first half, but I really, really, really liked what I saw in the second half. And I said this yesterday that I think the second half of Sunday's game might have been the best that we've seen him play. He finishes a couple of the opportunities that he had, and he's man of the match. So I really, really liked him. I'll be honest. I want to see him again up top against West Ham, even if Gabriel Jesus is healthy, which it doesn't look like he is. But I want to see Kai Havertz up top again. I want to see if he can take the next step, perhaps in that role. And let's see what we got. I mean, there's enough time in this season left. Can he take the number 9 position and make it his own? Can he make the search for a new striker a moot point come the summer? Gun to my head, I don't think he can right now, but I'm all for giving him a chance. I'm all for giving him a chance at it. So I've got Kai Havertz as one of my ups.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was awesome. I thought the way that they needed to occupy him as a runner and as someone who was, and I mean, we'll talk about Arteta too, because I wanted to touch on the tactics a little bit. But I like how he was dropping into space in the midfield, which kind of got them out of position a little bit. And I think that a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do literally happened on the first goal, right? Like we get the ball out wide to Zinchenko. Odegaard flashes in the middle. Kai Havertz drops down, which sucks them in. And then once it goes to Odegaard, he puts him through, and then he's in, right? Like I think that was a lot of our game plan. I think was shown there, and I think he got Konate the red card. Like he just was a menace, and I wanted him to finish that chance as much as anybody. But I think you guys probably saw it. I think he was looking for Saka basically the entire time. Like, I don't think he even ever wanted to shoot that. I think he got put through and kind of looked over.
Not this again.
He was hoping that I think Saka was there so he could play one more pass. That's how it looked? Because I think he was like, oh shit, well now I have to shoot. But I thought he was good. I thought he was really, really good. And like I said before, this might be our big game, deep Champions League, lineup potentially, which sounds crazy because we all love Jesus. But I mean, he's looked good in that position a couple of times now this season. So I've liked him more up top than I have at left 8.
Agreed.
So, I mean,
oh, good. Okay, you didn't hear that, so I'm going to pretend that I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, my only negative was just I wasn't a fan of his first half performance. I think he played the left 8 in the first half, and whenever you looked on the pitch, he was playing left 8. I get it. Like Odegaard is usually our further presser. He usually presses further than Jesus, but I didn't see enough effort. And again, he has the mannerisms of Mesut Ozil, so you're not going to see like that effort off the ball. Like at least just based on his expressions. But I just every time and again, I had an anti-Kai Havertz Arsenal fan screaming at me every time. We had the ball, so I saw it a lot more. I saw Kai Havertz a little bit more in that first half than I normally would. So that's why he's a honorable mention for me for my down. But
yeah,
he didn't quite make it.
Who's your last up?
My last up is it's my man of the match. Gabriel Martinelli. He's a menace. He tears up Alexander-Arnold every time. And you would think Klopp, probably one of, if not the best manager, just at finding solutions to problems and fixing them. He still has not cracked that code, that Martinelli Alexander-Arnold code yet. He's just a menace. He was everywhere. He switched. He was in the middle of the pitch. He was on the left. He was making runs. He's everywhere. And he needed that goal. He got the goal. And he's a menace. That's it. He's a menace, and he needs to keep playing like this, because when we play these teams in the Champions League, they're going to be playing like Liverpool. They're not going to be playing like Nottingham Forest. They're just not. Maybe Porto might. But the further we progress in the Champions League, the more we're going to need to rely on Martinelli. The more we're going to just need him to step up, and he's going to greatly help us in the coming Champions League stages.
Yep.
Go ahead, Real Ryan.
I mean, I got nothing, man. I mean, I completely agree, dude. And I think it was nice because we finally got to see him operate in a little bit of space, which was good. And we've harped about this a long time. Is when we play teams that don't want to play us, we're not going to see the best Martinelli, because it's going to be three breaks of four, just, behind the ball, 10 behind the ball. So he's not going to have the space to operate. And that's another thing why, to bring it back to Raya and getting these balls out too, to put him into space so he can run and get after people and just be the menace that we know he is. So it was cool to see him get to operate into some space, because he was awesome. He really was. He had a great game, and I think we're starting to see Martinelli and Saka potentially starting to rev up a little bit. I think over the next couple games we might see the XG and the chances go more towards our side, where we're not finishing chances, we're not doing that. I think these dudes are starting to get ready to hit their stride, and they're gonna be peaking, I think, at a perfect spot. So he was sick. Yeah, so good.
Boy, from your lips to the football god's ears on that one, for sure. I will just echo everything the two of you have said about Martinelli, man. He is, if there is a player in this side that is at his absolute 100% very best, and it is not an argument, when he is running direct, it is Gabriel Martinelli. That dude is, when he's running in a straight line, he's on it.
Dude,
he
smoked Konate.
Yep,
Konate's not slow.
No, that's exactly.
It's funny. Besides his second yellow, and besides that, I think Konate was fantastic for Liverpool. Yeah. I thought he played so well.
He's been
playing so for Liverpool. And Martinelli was like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And then we got him sent off.
Right.
So
right. Yeah, and that's and who was that? Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
But anyway, Martinelli was my man of the match as well. But I didn't have him as an up, only because I wanted to keep them separate. He would be the number one. I don't know. I don't know.
One up. He's an up. He's still an up.
He is. Yeah. I mean, he's the number one up. I wanted to give you one other though. I didn't want to do the man of the match, and I don't know. I feel like that's lazy. That was I was trying to dig at you a little bit. You didn't quite get it. That's
you didn't bite.
I still don't get it, but okay.
Didn't bite.
My only other up was Jorginho. He had a fantastic game. Ryan, OG, we talked about this yesterday. I don't think he was I don't think he had a man of the match performance. Everybody else did. I think he had a very good game, arguably the best game that he's played for us since he's been here. I mean, he played so well on Sunday that there are people talking about, should we extend him a year? I don't hate the idea. I think it would come with the caveat that he's probably going to drop in the pecking order to third choice, in a role to come on. But I didn't put a foot wrong. I recall maybe twice him getting dribbled past, which is not uncommon for him because he's not fleet of foot. But I just thought he was just so cerebral. As you know, OG, you said yesterday, might be the most intelligent player in this squad. He really, really put in a shift against the league leaders. I mean, let's face it, we're not talking about him putting in a shift against Brighton or, you know, Brentford. Somebody like he put in a shift against the league leaders and a really good team. I don't think Liverpool will sustain leading the league. I don't think they'll win the league, but they are a really good team. They are going to finish in the top 4 unless they completely capitulate. But I just, you know, his passing, if he plays smart defense, he's a good defender. He cannot be aggressive in defending because he will get dribbled past. And I agree with OG when he says he's not athletic. He's not an athletic guy. So know your limitations. And I think for the most part, he did that really well on Sunday, understanding his limitations. But in attack and possession, man, he is just so smart, and he can pick out passes like nobody's business. And you know, his ability to direct traffic when we're out of possession, things like that. I don't know that there's enough good I can say about Jorginho from Sunday, but Martinelli was my man of the match. Everything that OG said, and Jorginho is my final up. So that's what I've got for you.
Nice.
All right, well, my final thought real quick is just my honorable mention up, and it has a lot to do with Jorginho. I think Jorginho was able to do what he was able to do because of one, Declan Rice. Declan Rice, I didn't think to many had not that he had a bad game, but I think Declan Rice kind of comes more out on the pages when you're watching him, and he didn't really kind of spark anything as far as like the naked eye would see. But he allowed so many things to happen. His work rate allowed, you know, Odegaard to be further up the pitch. Ben White was able to be secure in that kind of that right 8 spot. Jorginho was kind of able to do, I don't really want to say keep within his limitations, but Jorginho was able to do what kind of he's best at. Zinchenko was able to play wide. We gave Liverpool a different puzzle to solve.
Yep.
We kind of showed them a plan C, and it was all because of Rice. And I think Rice was incredible. Rice did very well. Did he make any crazy tackles? Did he make any, you know, things that are going to show up on, you know, ESPN Top 10 or what is it, Match of the Day? Probably not. He didn't, but he enabled so many things to happen for this Plan C to work. He enabled players to have their best games of the season. So yeah, shout out to Declan Rice.
Monster.
I mean, it goes without saying. We've said this before. I mean, Declan Rice, player of the year at this point for us. I do want to touch on 3 Point Sniper's comment here real quick. Just you could hear how much Jorginho means in the dressing room in the dual interview with Rice after the game.
Was nice. Yeah.
I mean, Declan Rice just, you know, all of the plaudits to Jorginho. And you know, look, I think that overall, I think every player means that much in that dressing room. This really is a team. Back to the Thomas Partey thing real quick. And this just kind of popped into my head.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I wonder how well he fits in here anymore. I mean, if we're talking about, you know, the missing time, the injuries and everything else, and we're being told that it's a thigh strain, you know, unless they know something different, I have to wonder what the players are thinking about Thomas Partey in this. Look, man, you tweaked a muscle and you're done for 6 months.
Right.
Like,
Crazy.
Come on, man. Come on. You were back in training for 3 days. You went to Dubai. You trained in Dubai. You come back, and now all of a sudden you're hurt again. You had a setback. Huh?
Crazy.
You know, so I wonder how well he fits in here with the players in the dressing room, because I really I think there's a very strong sense of camaraderie within this squad right now. I don't think this is the sole reason we didn't do any business in January. I don't think the right player was available. I don't think we necessarily had all the money in the world to really make anything happen. But I also think there's a chemistry aspect of this as well, that Arteta and Edu just don't want to upset the apple cart with what they have right now. Because I also think the Dubai break coming when it did is a massive help. It's kind of like a reset. Let's hit the reset button, boys. We haven't been playing as well as we could be. Get the warm weather training in. Hit that reset button and let's come back refocused, refreshed, ready to see out the season, and let's step it up a couple of levels because we need to. And I think we've done that in the 3 games since Dubai. So, Jorginho, I think it goes without saying how much he means in the dressing room to these guys. And I think the intelligence really is what rubs off on a lot of the players for us with him, especially Declan Rice, because Declan Rice has been talking about Jorginho all season long and how Jorginho has helped to make Declan Rice a better midfielder. So there's definitely something to be said there.
Yep.
We both gave our man of the match, Real Ryan. I don't believe we've heard yours.
Yeah, it was Jorginho. It was either Martinelli or Jorginho, and it's tough because we know he won the man of the match during the actual game, so it's just kind of a cop out. But I was honestly really impressed. I mean, I always worried a little bit when he plays, just because I'm just oh man, our midfield's just gonna get ran through. But then you guys made such a good point. It's just well, when Declan Rice is there, we don't have to worry about that as much. You know what I mean? Right. He's gonna cover for him and make sure that doesn't happen. Sure, it's gonna happen sometimes, but it happens to every midfielder sometimes. So I think what he gives us in terms of just being press resistant, he's one touch, he keeps everything ticking over. We know he can play a ball into space. So the thing is, it's Jorginho's great when he has cover, and he has one of the best covering midfielders in the world. So you feel like you get a lot more of what he can do, and you don't think about his shortcomings as much. I thought he played a great game. I didn't look at all the stats, but I think I was, reading some stuff on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He was, top in pass accuracy, passes completed, interceptions, which is crazy. And he didn't do. I don't remember ever watching the game and just wishing he did something else or didn't make a mistake. So literally a perfect game for him, and I'm happy because you can see how much it meant. Because I don't remember, you guys might know better, but I don't think he's played for months. I don't think he's been on the field. So
I mean, he's had his cameos. He's come on as a sub here and there.
Right, but more games, it's just not I should say start. Because I know he's come on to dead a game with 10 minutes ago or 5 minutes ago, whatever. But the last time he started, sorry, and the fact that he came in and this is Liverpool, you know what I mean? So very, very, very impressed. A deserved man of the match, but like you said, it didn't feel oh my gosh, a man of the match performance, you know what I mean? But when you look at it and you look at how we played and how he played, I think he deserved it. So good on him.
Look, at the end of the day, I mean, we do this show, it's 3 up, 3 down, and the downs again. I don't really think anybody, barring the goal that we conceded, that we gave them, nobody had a bad game, because you can even look at Saliba and Raya in that moment and say it was a lapse. But overall, they both had great games.
Yeah.
And even Odegaard, like Ryan said, he was great off the ball. He was fantastic off. This was a great game overall from everybody. I think I'm not even that down on Zinchenko. Right. I do agree with what OG said about the injury, and I was not upset at all to see him staying out wide. If nothing else, I mean, he stays out wide. He's kind of he's already in position to track back to get back defensively. Hopefully the injury isn't a long one. He stays out against West Ham as a precaution. Tomiyasu's back in the squad. We should be okay there. But I don't think anyone had a poor game. I do want to hit on Mikel Arteta quickly. I think starting lineup wise, I think he got it right given the circumstances with injuries. I hesitate to say that I was disappointed to not see ESR in there, but this is why I'm not a football manager. I should sit behind a camera on my laptop and talk about it. But I mean, putting Jorginho in there in the role that Jorginho played, spot on, because ESR is not going to do that.
Right.
And I don't know with ESR in there, not a knock on ESR. I don't know that we win this game. I just don't. He doesn't track back.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the off the ball.
But
stuff.
and again, it's not a knock on ESR, but Arteta got it spot on, and there was a little bit of a plan B here. We man marked Liverpool, which is something that I don't really recall seeing a whole lot of. At least I think we did from what I was watching. I think we were more man marking than not. I'm really happy to see him do a few things a little differently. And he was none too happy to let us absorb some pressure and hit them on the counter. And I think now what we're starting to see since Dubai is we want to dominate possession, but we want to stretch our legs too. We want to get out there. We want to run a little bit. Okay. We're tired of being hemmed in the small little fenced in backyard. Let's tear down the fences and let's let these thoroughbreds run and do what they want to do. That's Martinelli. That's Bukayo Saka. That's what, if ESR is going to get a run, that's what ESR wants to do. It's what Gabriel Jesus wants to do. Let these guys run. So possess the ball when we can and be smart about it, but let's win the ball back and let's just run at them. And I think we're developing a healthy mix of the two systems. And if it keeps going that way and we can lock things down defensively, we're going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah.
We are going to be a hard team to beat as long as we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, because what I have seen is that still that tendency to self-inflict wounds. We get rid of that, we're going to be a really hard team to beat. So I really, really am liking what I'm seeing from Mikel Arteta since the Dubai break. Real Ryan, go ahead with anything with Mikel Arteta.
Yeah, I mean, A plus from Arteta. I was cool with the lineup. I was curious to see who was going to play striker, who was going to play left eight. So I was happy that we went with Kai Havertz. I think he feels comfortable doing that against a team like a Liverpool or a City. I don't know if we played someone else, he might have had a different lineup, but I think he's feeling good with putting Kai up top when we play these type of teams. He gives us something different than Eddie. I think everyone would have had a mental breakdown if Eddie and Nketiah started that game. I don't think there was any chance he would have. Yeah. But if it was Eddie up there and Kai at 8, I don't know. I don't think I would have been. I would have guessed I would have been okay with it because it was his decision and that's what the team that he put together. But I don't know how comfortable I would have felt. I felt good when I saw the starting lineup. So lineup and the subs were great. Obviously, we talked about Kivior coming on. I mean, he had to do that, but Kivior came on, played good. Obviously, Trossard was awesome. I really liked what we did when Liverpool was in possession. We played that 4-4-2 mid block. I think Liverpool wanted to overload the midfield, and I think what we did there is, we play that 4-4-2, have Kai and Odegaard press, and then Jorginho would step up on McAllister because he was their only single pivot. And then it was like a 2v1 when it got to that. So it forced them to be uncomfortable trying to play out of the back. And I thought that was good. And then, both of you talked about Zinni playing out wide. I think they did it on purpose so that Trent couldn't invert. So take Zinni out there so Trent can't cheat and come inside and link up. So sticking Zinchenko so close to the touchline kind of made it so he had to at least account for a player out wide, which I thought was pretty smart. And I think that just led to some other things, when we were out of possession and when we were in possession. So I thought it was really cool. I mean, we had a lot of 2v1s for Konate. It was tough for them to get out. I think we made it difficult for Joe Gomez to get out the way we pinned him on his weak foot. We doubled up on McAllister. So, yeah, I mean, the game plan was really, really, really good. Klopp is obviously good at second half adjustments. I feel that whatever Arteta said to them at halftime worked like after 10 minutes, because I think 10 minutes into the second half we kind of felt a little bit sorry for ourselves that it was 1-1. But I think the shot that Odegaard sprayed wide that might have deflected off someone, I think that got us going again. And then from there, I think we pretty much shut it down, like locked it down. They didn't get much after that, even with their subs and whatnot. So a very, very impressive game plan from Arteta, and I think we executed it well. And I was good with the lineup.
OG?
I mean, Ryan kind of took everything and said everything. The only thing I have to really add to is, I don't think this was an ESR game. And it's funny because during the game, we were talking to some people and they were like, oh, ESR's got to come on. We got to bring ESR on. And I was like in that camp because I was like, I just want to see ESR play. But at the end of the day, like he's not the guy to play against Liverpool, at least not right now. Whether it be left 8, false 9, wherever you want to put him, I don't think he's the play. If I had to really nitpick, it was glad to see we brought Saka off, and we didn't give him the 90. We put Nelson on. Did I want Nelson to come on maybe a couple minutes earlier? Maybe we had to have the Saka, fall the pitch, have the doctors come on for a second for us to make the decision. And I mean, I guess it's a nitpick, but I guess I'm wrong in this. But I will say I was pissed when Trossard came on for Martinelli. I think Martinelli was just dancing around Alexander-Arnold for fun, and I did not want Martinelli coming off. I think Martinelli had more time to run around. I think he wasn't tired yet, and I almost wanted to see Trossard come on for Saka, really, if we really want to argue that, because I did want to see Trossard come on. Trossard always has great games against Liverpool, even when he's playing Brighton. I think he had a hat trick, I think he might have scored 4 goals against Liverpool.
Hat trick at Anfield.
Yeah, so I did want to see Trossard play, but Martinelli was just wowing me every chance he had the ball, every run he was making. So didn't want to see him come off, but again, that's why he's the manager and I'm not. So Trossard was great, obviously. So I guess I'll take the L on that one. But yeah, it was just a great game plan. Klopp kind of came with an answer to our original game plan, and then Arteta countered it. And it's just, again, it was like watching chess out there between two amazing chess players. And it's always good to see that. It's always good to analyze games from a tactical standpoint, from teams answering to other teams' moves. But yeah, it's good to win that one for sure.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, OG?
No, I mean, it's only I have to say is we have to win. We have to win something against West Ham. I'm going to keep the streak going. As of right now, I think I'm going to be going to the New Haven Juniors Bar in New Haven, Connecticut. So hopefully we get another win. It's going to be very exciting. But yeah, this is big. West Ham haven't won since they beat us in December. So this is huge. We can't take this game lightly.
Yeah.
Real Ryan, final thought?
Yeah, no, Ryan said it perfectly, because we don't win that game and the Liverpool game starts to not mean as much, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we just and that's the thing. I think we're in a good spot. I think we will win that game. I am worried just because whenever you play a team that's like a West Ham, it's almost like, I don't know. It's not that they don't care, but it's just like they might play with a little bit like nothing to lose, and that might not work well with maybe our game plan. Like, sometimes teams do stuff that you don't expect when they're not playing tight or playing how they normally do. I just feel like, they might do stuff a little bit unorthodox, which could, be a little bit weird for us to adjust to. That's my only worry. But other than that, yeah, just win that game and, move on, because we we said this, it was like a, Project 12, you know what I mean? So this was the last one. Just
start stacking points now.
Yep.
Start stacking points leading up to that, to the game at the Etihad on the 31st of next month, because that's what it is. We've got the opportunity now to really get on a good run here with some teams, below us and quite a ways below us in the table. So, and a good stretch of matches coming at home as well. So that's it. We're right up at an hour and a half. Thank you, everybody. If you've lasted this long with us live, thank you very much. If you're catching the replay, also, thank you very much for lasting this long. Please drop a thumbs up on the channel if you haven't already, or on the show rather. subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to that 1,000 subscriber threshold. That'll just open up a lot more fun options and fun things that we can do with the shows. We'll be back next week, obviously, to chat some more. We'll do the ratings thing again with the 3 up, 3 down man of the match. We'll talk about Arteta. Did he get it right? Did he get it wrong? So on and so forth. And hopefully we're talking about another 3 points in the bag from the London Stadium. That's all we've got. It's been good footy talk. We'll see you out there.